this challenge, I'm gonna be talking about all the trades I'm making. I'm gonna show it to you. I'll show you the result as well. So also I'm gonna introduce you a couple of notions and concepts. So make sure that you stick to the video and make sure that you subscribe if you haven't. If you want to see the outcome of this challenge and this journey that I started, and to show you for you guys that with $2,000 US dollar you can pretty much start a journey and making things happen. Also, just want to make a disclaimer. You have to be the type of person to be determined and make it. If you want any advice or anything, how to start your own journey and how you should start doing things. Also, just to remind you guys, I've been trading for a couple of years, and this is a way for me to demonstrate it's possible. So stay tuned and let's get to the topic of today. So in a minute I'm gonna start sharing my screen, and for today so I'm gonna be talking about as I said, this is the pretty much the third week of this challenge. I've made a couple of transactions already. The recap for the day. So the first things I do as usual, I think at this point you are extremely familiar with. So I'm checking the news at 8:30 and typically looking for the same thing I've been talking in the previous videos. News, especially negative news that could impact the SPY. So the tech stocks in some ways. And today I'm gonna do things a little bit differently. I'm gonna show you how I may use to a certain extent. Again, this is very surface level way of doing things, but to determine the price movement. Also, I will use the 10-day moving average combining to that price movement to make a move. And then I will briefly introduce you to the RSI, which is the definition is the relative strength index, and support and resistance concepts. So I will show you the entries I've made. I will show you the gain and the loss I've been encountering, and I will keep checking the news to show you potential other entries I would make or I made in this case. So something important and something new today, and what that's like just like something I just want to mention before I get into the next step. So something really important you could do, right? So create a calendar in which you basically type. It could be an Excel file, it could be something that you look constantly, in which you type every single important news. So I mean by that any news that could affect the overall economy, in particular the tech stocks. What are those news? It could be the Fed's announcing an increase in interest rate, such as they did this week, which was I think it was Wednesday, May 3rd. And also it could be something, for example, next month, I think it's June 2nd, about the US debt setting. So it could be some news related to that coming up next month. So those are the things that you want to watch for and see typically how the market behaves like 2-3 days before that news is it's being announced, right? So if the news has a negative impact, therefore you should pay attention. If the market is behaving, people are selling off, and if the price is dropping, pay attention to those things. So the previous trade I made this week, I made 2 specific trades. Maybe a third one. I will see if I can show you that one in this video. So I make two entries. On my left, you can see pretty much I bought one contract which was a $406 US dollar call for the SPY, and the purchase was May 26, and the potential total return was 343 US dollar. So the other on the right side, I bought a 412 call for the SPY. Those are 2 contracts. I bought it 2 days after, so I bought it April 28, so it's 428 as you can see, and the potential total return is 206 US dollar. So again, this is like the potential return. I have to look into my account activities to pull the exact amount I sold those contracts for. So, something I wanted to mention is the impact of a negative news. As I was telling you earlier, I was preparing you to this. So basically, what happened on Wednesday, the Fed announced an increase in interest rate, and you have to understand, it's typically what's happening is like not an exact science, but it's a combination of many negative news. So first, we know about the U.S. some regional banks, crash, such as I think Suisse, something like that. And there's a couple of other banks. I think First Republic Bank as well, and some other couple of regional banks was put on the hotspot. Combining to that, so it's the banking system basically. Some of part of the bank is being at risk. Combining with the current state of the economy, so the post-COVID economy hasn't fully recovered. Combining with the increase of the interest rate, all of that forced. I remember the SPY at the beginning of the week was trading at 417 at the peak US dollar, about that amount, and it's typical. And you can see it has drastically dropped. You can see as on my screen the drop it's a very very sharp drop, and having that in mind, that was a signal for me for a potential huge sell-off. And as you guys can see the volume, so the volume are represented by those red bar. I don't know if you can see the cursor, my mouse cursor on my screen, but if you can see it, it's those typically those bar that are red, that are just below the graph. You can see the bigger they are, the bigger the sharper the drop. So you can see it's all red. So huge sell off coming up. And some other important things, the RSI, which is in this case is related to the support and resistance level. I just want to mention just in this graph, you will see it is another graph below. It's that is bounded by kind of two in a band, and you can see. I'm not gonna mention it, but just pay attention to that graph. I'm gonna bring it up later on. So how we reacted to this sell-off? This sell-off obviously was an opportunity to make some money out of it. So I decided again, when the price of the stock is dropping, you want to place put, and typically you want to place put in the money. I'm not gonna talk about this concept right now in this video, because again, I'm starting this journey as a beginner. I'm not gonna talk about all those concepts now, so just stay patient. Just be patient. I'm gonna bring you up to speed hopefully in the future. So as you guys can see, I bought it on May 2nd, right? I bought two contracts, the market value, you can see the market value, you can see the expiration date. I will not tell you process it yet. I will pick those expiration dates. I think this maybe in the upcoming videos, because it may take a little bit of time breaking down between the in the money and how to pick the expiration dates and so forth and so on. So total return for that specific day, right, was 444 US dollar, 51% potential profit already. So you see how much important it is to stay informed and make sure that you react appropriate and fast to every market changing condition and news if you feel there's something coming up. So let's go back to that graph, and we're going to talk about the moving average this time. So the 10-day moving average is a blue line that you see. You can see there's some two red arrow that is pointing to this blue line that is kind of dropping along the graph. And again, it's a combination of many things, as I was mentioning, that could help you make your move, right? So in this case, the 10-day moving average was dropping, so which means that the sell-off was sufficient enough to move the average price to drop to 10 from the 10 previous day. When the average is down, then it dropped. So that's just demonstrate how important of this it is, and again, that moving average is the abbreviation of it is called the MA10, and I'm not going to talk about again for the graph that is just below, and this is just bounded by this band. Just stay tuned. So let's introduce you to the support and resistance. So the support is a level at which demand is strong enough to stop the stock price from falling any further. This is the definition of the support from Google. And the resistance is just the opposite of it. So what does that mean, right? Typically and in a concrete manner, the support level is basically like the lowest point, like to which there's enough people buying to maintain the price at a certain, I would say, certain minimum. And if that minimum is being broken, so if that people are buying enough at that strictly minimum to maintain the price at that level, then that could be indicate a signal for a potential sell-off. So the support, they said, it's been said that the support level has been broken. Just generally, there are different support levels, and each support level match a different price. But for the sake of this video, just see the two red arrow. It bound the band. The upper arrow indicates the resistance level. The below arrow represents the support level. And if the graph that is in between the band drop below that, typically drop below that lower part of the band, that means that the support level has been broken. Again, it's a combination of many things happening, right? Just want you to remember that. So let's talk about the total profit and loss. So total profit and loss for that day is simply a combination of all the trades I'm making. The trade I showed you earlier, the $444, I didn't include in this total potential profit or loss at this point. But I'm gonna probably talk about that in the next video. But if I do include that, that would be a total, profit is $649 plus $444, which is about $1,000 profit, potential profit. But I need to do some calculation and bring you the exact numbers, but I will do it later on. So again, I did some other entries on the next day, so which was about on the, I believe was the 3rd. So the next day I was thinking, okay, maybe what's happening on Monday. The price was dropping really badly, and then it bounced back a little bit. I was thinking maybe that the news, people were just like kind of selling enough, they were just scared, and maybe there would be some momentum in which I could make some couple of bucks. And unfortunately, there was a very short momentum. I didn't have day trades, so I had to stick to the trades. There was effectively that did a brief momentum, but that the mistake I did was because I did, there was at some point I could make a couple of, let's say, $100, something like that. But I didn't have day trades, which was a mistake. Again, I'm a beginner, I'm learning, or I pretend to be a beginner, remember. So I could have exited if I could use the day trades that are available, the 3-day trades, but I didn't, so I stick to it. And yeah, so I had to stick to that day. And what I did in that specific case, I averaged down my entries, and I stick up to Friday. I think it was Thursday or Friday. And you have to be patient because again, typically sometimes a huge sell-off is just a momentum for investor, to sell off and to scare people. And as soon as the price drops to a lower level, people have panic sell or panic sold the stocks, then they just buy back, and that's exactly what happened. So before, as you can see, CS was negative, minus $275, and then 2 days later I was positive, and the total returns is $229. I'm gonna show you, but not for this video, what the potential profit I'm making. So quick recap for the day. Always read the news, always check selling and buying volume, always use the as you guys can do moving average to your advantage. Avoid traps. What are traps? Traps are typically you don't read the news enough. You see people reacting to a negative or positive news, and people are reacting typically according to that preemptively. So they are reacting in advance of that news before that news happen. So avoid those traps and just be cautious about how people may react to the news. And again, we are not trying to predict the price. We are just aiming at following a market movement that has been initiated by the bigger investor. That's pretty much what it is. So thank you guys for watching, and that was it for today. And I appreciate that, take your time, make sure you subscribe, and stay tuned as part of this journey to learn and to show you guys what you can learn every single day and every single week. And make sure that you do that you trade hopefully profitable. I'm not gonna tell you about promising you that in advance that even you become an experienced trader, you'll be making succeeding any trade, or this like a magical strategy that will guarantee that profit. No. So just stick tuned to this journey. I hope you learn anything from it. Thank you, and see you next week. Subscribe, leave a comment on what you want me to post, and thank you for watching.